My name is Kogut. I'm a senior printmaking major here at Temple, Tyler School of Art, and I mostly work in silkscreen and etchings. When I paint, I mostly use watercolor, gouache, colored pencils, graphite, and an assortment of different pens. When I came to Tyler, I had always painted and drew, but when I declared my printmaking major, I started to experiment on combining the two different processes and mediums. When I start a piece, I'll usually start with a ink wash or watercolor wash on the paper, and then on top of that, I'll start to go in with some graphite and start to define the composition and start to think about how I would lay my silkscreen or my etching on top of that piece. As a printmaking major, we have to use some printmaking processes in our prints, but a lot of printmaking is very restricting in the way that it lays on the paper, where painting is a lot more organic and a lot more spontaneous, and that has a lot to do with the art that I make. I don't really plan things out too much. I plan out my silkscreens and my etchings because it's such a definite process. But with painting, it's more organic and it just sort of flows out of your body, and it's a very subconscious act between you and the piece. Printmaking at Tyler School of Art is composed of 4 different processes. For my larger pieces, I always do silk screening because it's crisp and the line work that it produces is really strong. In terms of making small work, I always do etchings because of the crispness of the small lines. A lot of the work that I make is really good for printmaking because of the line work that you can produce. In my larger pieces, I love to combine painting, drawing, and printmaking, especially silk screens. I start a piece by painting on it and drawing on it to kind of set up the composition, and then from there I do silk screens, which I use spray paint on, ink. On top of that, I go back and I draw and I cut things out, and I use graphite, colored pencil, gouache, watercolor, and it all depends on the piece, like where it is at that time. I just kind of do it as it needs to be done. I don't really start off with a set plan of how I'm going to mix the processes, but it sort of stems from this subconscious place where I just kind of do it. As an artist, I really enjoy to display my work as much as I can. Every year at school, we have an annual student show that I've been in for the past 3 years. But recently, I've been starting to, expand my horizons and try and get into some different shows. In terms of a future in printmaking, after school, I plan to do as much freelance illustration as I possibly can. I work for the Free Library of Philadelphia right now, and I'm trying to get a full-time job there doing illustration. And I just plan on continuing to make work and get into galleries and try and sell some art. And I'm just going to see where that takes me.